and welcome to this SUPboarder video. This is the first installment of our How To Longboard SUP series. Today we're going to be looking at what you need to look out for before you head out into the waves at your local break, and also how to identify the best waves to ride a longboard SUP in. This is the first part in this series, as it's great to know what waves you're going to be surfing on your longboard SUP, because it does have a big impact into how you're going to set up your equipment and what boards you might be thinking of buying if you are going to buy a longboard SUP. And we'll be covering the equipment and the kit you need in our next video in this series. Longboard SUPs carry a lot of glide when paddling into waves, which make them an obvious choice for many paddlers. Plus the boards also handle a wide variety of conditions. But we're going to show you exactly what to look out for in identifying a wave and the elements involved. Firstly, before you get to the beach, you want to make sure that you've checked the conditions and that they suit your ability of SUP. You want to look out for things such as the wind direction and the wind speed, and also the wave height and what the tide is doing as well. It's really good to know about these elements because it does affect which beach you might go to and also which board you might be taking with you. When you get to your surf spot, you want to look out for some conditions that are going to suit your longboard SUP style of surfing. First thing you want to look for is what are the waves doing? What type of waves do we have out there? Are the waves breaking fast down the line? Is the wave face really steep? Or is it a gentle slope on the wave and the waves are rolling and spilling over themselves? Generally, longboard SUPs are going to be better for those spilling waves with those slopey faces, because you can get that paddle speed up to catch the wave, and it's going to be a lot easier to control and maneuver. These big boards here, they don't tend to handle a steep face very well. Taking off and down, the length of the board isn't going to fit into that curved area on the face. So it is better to surf those slopey faces or those smaller, more rolling waves coming into the beach. If you're a more advanced SUP surfer, you might want to take on those steeper waves, and that's fine. Just remember though, when you are turning the board on the wave, it is going to be quite difficult because of the length of the board just might not fit in the pocket of that wave. Some of the factors that may influence how the waves are shaped include the tide. If the sandbank is quite shallow, it's definitely going to have a steeper wave on it. So making sure you understand the depth of the water out there. If it's a high tide, generally there are going to be more slopey and rolling and spilling waves coming through. The wind also does affect it as well. If it's a strong offshore wind, sometimes it does hold the wave face up. The next thing you want to look out for is to see if there are any dangers, any hazards on the beach, but also if you can use those hazards or dangers to your advantage. Such as if you see a rip on the beach, you can use that to your advantage paddling out. Rips are where the water moves back out to sea through a deeper section along the beach, or rocks. Identifying a rip or a channel is really great for you to paddle out on a longboard SUP. It's going to allow you to avoid paddling through the white water and up and over waves consistently. So make sure that when you do get to the beach, you always try to look for a channel, for some deeper water, for that rip so you can paddle out in. It is going to be really tough paddling out through white water on a longboard SUP and popping up over lots and lots of waves. Another great thing to look out for is your access points down to the waves. What do you need to do to get down to your wave? These boards are quite big, so manoeuvring them around through cliffs or down through rocks may be a bit of a challenge to you. So just remember that you want to check your access. The next thing we want to look at is what's the crowd like out there. Longboard SUPs have this advantage of paddling and that glide that you can get into waves on. So remember that it is going to be easy to catch waves on this, but it's not going to be easy for the surfers out there to catch waves. So just remember and respect that lineup. If you are going to go out surfing in a crowd, just let a few set waves go through before you catch your wave. That way you just make sure that you're respecting the lineup, respecting the flow of everyone out there. And also a really good tip is if you are out the back on a longboard or on any kind of stand-up paddleboard, is just to sit down on the board when you're waiting. It does feel intimidating for the surfers looking up at you the whole time. I know it's good for them. If you see a set and you start to move, that they'll follow you. But it's good that you're sitting up a little bit higher so you can see that set, then you can start to move away from them a little bit. Try to play a few games like that just to get away from the crowd. I feel like when I do see a crowded spot, I'd much rather go to an uncrowded spot. Maybe I'm going to sacrifice the quality of waves, but for less people, which is always a bonus for me. I love getting my wave count up, catching more waves, practicing my maneuvers. It doesn't really matter if I fall off out there. There's no one around that I'm really worried about hitting. So sacrificing that wave quality for your wave count could be a really good tip for you if you generally surf within the crowds. Just check out this video of Ruben here. He had this day all to himself. He had one other guy out there, but he was surfing on a different peak across from him. And Ruben was literally just doing circles, catching a wave, going back out, just in a loop, just a constant loop around. And he got so many waves. I bet he was so tired after the session, but he had all the boards testing on the beach. So now we've covered some of the basic things, such as looking at what conditions are going to suit your ability, what the waves are doing out there, and what types of waves are coming through, what the crowd's like, and also what your access to the surf break is like as well. We're going to move on to looking at where we're actually going to be surfing and identifying our surfing area out there. It's really good to understand what's happening in the lineup and also what might be back on the beach, so you can make sure that you can have a reference point when you're out there. When you're on the beach before you head out, I always find it's a great idea to stop, do your warm-up routine, but keep a very close eye on what's happening out in the water. If you can take 10 minutes just to watch the conditions, see when the sets are coming through, where they're coming through, how the people are moving in the water, where they're positioning themselves to catch the best waves, it's really going to help you when you get out there as well to know exactly what's happening in the water. Far too many times I've headed out for a paddle and lost myself out in the lineup, had not a great surf, and missed quite a few good waves out there because I didn't understand what was happening in the water. So the best thing for this is to draw a map in the sand of your surf break, so you know exactly what's happening out there before you even paddle out. Now your map should include things such as the wind direction and also the tide, things you've already looked at before, but also the hazards such as rocks or rips, maybe a current out there, and also people and where they're positioned out in the water, and where the waves are breaking. Are they left-hand waves or are they right-hand breaking waves? Knowing this is going to make sure that you go out there and understand the waves so that you can catch and maximize your wave count. If you want to learn more about drawing your map before heading out for a surf, make sure you subscribe to SUPboarder Pro and check out the video. So remember to choose those spilling waves, those gently rolling waves, when you're riding your longboard SUP. Also remember to paddle out in the rip or in a channel. It's going to make it much easier paddling out on such a big board. Going to get your wave count up as well. You're going to save a lot of energy during your surf session. Also remember to draw that map, get to know the surf spot where you're going to surf at, and make sure you choose the best conditions that are going to suit your SUP ability. Thank you for tuning in to this SUPboarder video. I hope you learned a lot from this one. Remember, next episode we're going to be learning everything about the equipment and the kit you need to longboard SUP surf, so stick around and stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.